What kind of perch should you have in your parrot's cage for their cage setup? Hi, I'm Kaylin, the author of the Parrot Bliss Bond. Please be sure to get your copy on Amazon so that you have your handbook to help you know what you need to provide your parrot with a quality life so that you can then have quantities of bliss. Today, I wanted to talk to you about one thing that I think is super duper important when you are setting up your parrot's cage. Oh, and this is Bonnie, my Queen of Bavaria, or Golden Conure. And what that is the perches. Perches are, of course, the place where your parrot sits. Now, I hope I'm going to pronounce this right, but parrots have zygotal feet, and I'm wondering if I could show you Bonnie's feet. 2 toes forward, 2 toes backwards. As you know, they use their toes to wrap around the stick. But what you may not know is that you really have to be careful with their feet. You want to keep their feet in good shape so that they can use their feet to feed themselves, which we all know that they do, and to stand and perch, get around their cage or your home or wherever they are for as long as possible. So the material that you use for a perch is really important, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, because there is one material for perches that gets talked about a lot that I really strongly feel you should avoid. I completely agree with my avian vet and my mentor's opinion on these perches. Now, first though, I wanted to tell you, when you are picking perches for your parrot, I think it's really good to have different sizes. Like, here's a nice thicker piece of or stick. There's a thinner one, and I'll talk about the rope I have on there in a minute. But they say that what you really want is a stick. Let's see if we can get Bonnie to step up. Can you step on the stick for me? Step up. All right. Do you see how her foot goes around about 3/4 of it? That's actually about what we want. When a stick is really thick, your parrot's feet just kind of can't really get around. They say that 3/4 where they can get about 3/4 around the stick is about what you want to do. So for example, if my hand was a parrot's paw, this would be way too small because it's kind of hard to grasp. I will say though, giving your parrot different size perches is great, because then their feet get exercise, and you know, they're holding something bigger, they're maybe holding onto the side of the cage, they're holding maybe something smaller, and it lets their muscles move around and really get some exercise. So that's really good and important, because you want your parrot's feet to be in good shape. Of course, sticks, natural wooden sticks, are great for your parrot's feet, and your parrot will often bite them. I'm going to include a picture of a swing I just put in one of the cages, and it's already getting stripped of the bark, which I think is fabulous. It's getting stripped of the bark because they're enjoying the swing, they're sitting on the swing. In the picture, Macy's on the swing, but when Adonis, our African gray, one of our African grays, was on the swing, it was really cute. She was moving her body to the sides to get the swing to move some. So you would enhance your parrot's cage when you consider putting different things in a parrot's cage, like not only different size sticks, but maybe a swing. And a swing can be really easy to make. This is, I only have one hand here, so this is a good example of a swing, like maybe from a parrotlet cage. And you know, it'll be hanging that way. But you can see I'm going to use this natural rope to tie it. I feel comfortable that this rope is like so stiff that they won't get stuck in it. And if not, I usually will just use a thicker rope that there's just like no way that they're going to get stuck in. When they have thicker ropes like that, see, like that's a nice thickness. And I forget, I get like jute ropes hemp ropes, sometimes coconut ropes, like whatever they have that's a natural fiber. Because then when they bite it, I'm like, whatever. You don't want to do cotton because they can ingest it and it can get stuck in their digestive system. Come back, come back. Where are you? There you are. What you doing? What you doing, Bonnie? So, of course, sticks are a great material to use. Rope, I think, is super fabulous because your avian vet will recommend a rope perch when your parrot's feet have worn out. So one of the things that happens is the pads on their little feet can get worn, especially if you have like a metal, like the play tops will have a metal rail, and as the bird grabs it and grabs it and grabs it, it can really wear their little pads down. And those pads, they'll heal, but they won't heal in a way where they'll like regrow the skin. So for example, if a parrot took a bite out of my finger will fill back in, relatively speaking. Depends on how big the bite is. But for a parrot, even if they sand their feet down a little, it won't necessarily grow back. It'll heal so it's not an open wound, but it won't heal in the sense that they won't regain that tissue. That means that there are two kinds of perches that I would never use. The one that my avian vet talked about when my yellow-naped Amazon, shortly after I brought her home, I take her to the vet and I showed her, I go, her feet look funny. And she's like, yeah, they're, and then she talked to me. She's like, don't do a cement perch because I don't know how much it really does or doesn't file down your parrot's nails, but it certainly files their palm down. And it only makes sense. If you kept grabbing, especially, if you're doing it several hours a day, and certainly if you're doing it like the whole time you're in your perch, if you kept grabbing, it would sand your hand down. It would wear your hand. You wouldn't feel good. It's a terrible thing really to do to a parrot. The idea, of course, is that it's a great way for your parrot's nails to just naturally file down. But, it's just not worth filing their skin down as well. The other perch that I would never use is a plastic perch. When I get anything like for the parrotlets and it has the little plastic dowel, the first thing I do is I throw it away. Those plastic dowels, they don't give. Wood obviously gives because you could see all the places it's been bitten. This guy, there goes that stick. This stick hasn't been loved yet, so it still has its bark because it's not from the parrot store, it's from my neighborhood. So pretty soon it'll just be, instead of being brown, it'll be the light tan. So the most important thing is to have perches in there that are good for your parrot's feet. They love swings. I have in one of my parrotlet aviaries, I have the cotton rope, swirly rope hanger perch. They love it. I watch it carefully. The parrotlets, their beaks are smaller, so I don't feel like they eat as much. Like they're not, I don't feel like it's as much of a problem. Like with my macaws, the bigger swirly ropes, they don't last long because the girls like bite at it and it just gets destroyed very quickly. So in one of my aviaries from my parrotlets, I have this kind of rope, and I kind of hung it like a W, and it's really cute because they'll go in together into the little slots and just like cuddle together. It's adorable. So whatever you do, that's a nice, easy way to enhance your parrot's perches and their cage when you're setting up their cage. The natural materials are just going to be easier on their feet. It's going to allow their beak to do more. The plastic material, it's not going to give. It's not going to let them eat at it. The bark, if your parrot eats the bark, chances are your parrot's just going to make a mess out of the bark. But if they eat the bark, that's fine. In nature, they will actually eat bark because it binds to the lectins that are in the vegetables that they eat or the plants that they eat. And lectins are a plant's poison. So when they then eat the bark, it's to actually help. Same with when they eat clay. It's to help them detoxify or not get toxic. So the more you can use natural materials, the better. And my favorites are wood, you know, that I cut up and I could do whatever I want with it. I also like, sometimes I hang it like a curtain. I'll drill holes in them and hang them parallel, but vertically, because it kind of creates two things. It can create like a privacy screen for them, but it also gives them something where they can hang on like a tree, even though it's vertical, and then they'll bite it. So, you know, it doesn't always have to be horizontal. You certainly want some that are horizontal, but parrots are monkeys, and so I find that sometimes they like when a perch in their cage is vertical, sometimes they like when it's horizontal, sometimes they like when it's at an angle. You know, they like different things. They like when it's a swing, and of course they always destroy whatever kind of perch I put in there. Thank you for watching my blissful video. I hope that you have some fantastic ideas to increase your parrot's bliss in their cage when it comes to their perches. Catch you next time.